In the heart of a bustling city like New York, everyone has a story to tell. Some stories are loud and full of triumph, while others are quiet, hidden beneath the surface. Today, we're going to learn about a man who worked as a janitor for most of his life, yet became a millionaire against all odds. His journey is not just one of wealth, but also of deep loss, heartache, and self-discovery. Through the highs and lows, his story is a reminder that everyone has hidden strengths, waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes, the greatest treasures are not made of gold, but of the lessons we learn along the way. John Miller had always been a humble man. He was the kind of person who kept to himself, preferring to stay out of the spotlight. He worked as a janitor in a large office building in downtown New York. His job was to clean the floors, take out the trash, and make sure the offices were tidy by the end of the day. To most, he was invisible, just another person who did his work quietly without asking for anything in return. But John carried a secret that no one knew about. His life had been filled with hidden struggles. He had lost his mother at a young age, and his father had never been around. Growing up in a foster home, John had learned early on that life could be cruel. The pain of not having a family to call his own left a deep scar in his heart. But John never let this define him. Instead, he focused on surviving, on working hard and staying out of trouble. There were many nights when John would sit alone in his small apartment, his only company the sound of traffic outside. He would often think about his mother and the dreams she had for him. She had always told him, "No matter what happens, always keep moving forward." These words stuck with him, especially on the days when he felt like giving up. One day, while cleaning the office building late at night, John stumbled upon something strange. It was an old, forgotten envelope tucked behind a stack of papers. The envelope had no return address, just a name: David Caldwell. Curious, John opened it to find an old letter, written in neat handwriting. It was a letter from a man who had once worked in the same building many years ago. The letter spoke of a secret investment, a small amount of money that had been set aside for a rainy day. The amount seemed small at first, but the more John read, the more he realized this was no ordinary letter. It was a letter about a hidden fortune. John didn't know what to think. He sat there, staring at the letter for hours, trying to make sense of it. He had heard stories of people leaving behind hidden riches, but he never thought he would be the one to find such a thing. The letter mentioned a specific place in the building where the money was hidden, a small storage closet in the basement. But it also warned that the key to the closet had been lost long ago, and the only way to find it was by solving a series of riddles left behind in the building. This discovery stirred something deep inside John. He had never been the kind of person to take risks, but something about this felt different. He knew that this could be his chance to change his life forever. He began searching for the key, following the clues hidden in the building. It wasn't easy, and there were many nights when he felt like giving up. But he couldn't. He had to keep going. Weeks passed, and John continued his search. But the weight of his past began to creep into his thoughts. He thought about his mother, who had passed away when he was just a teenager. The pain of her loss had never truly healed. And now, as he dug deeper into this mystery, it felt like he was unearthing old wounds. The thought of his mother not being there to see him succeed made his heart ache. He cried many nights, missing her more than words could say. It was during one of these nights, while sitting in the dark of the basement, that he found the key. It was hidden in the most unlikely of places, a dusty old book that no one had touched in years. With trembling hands, he unlocked the storage closet, and inside, he found a chest filled with money. But the money wasn't what took his breath away. It was the realization that he had just uncovered the life-changing opportunity he had always dreamed of. The money he found wasn't enough to make him a millionaire overnight, but it was a start. John used it to invest in stocks and real estate. He worked tirelessly, putting in every ounce of effort he had. The journey was far from easy. There were moments when he lost everything and had to start over, but he never gave up. He remembered his mother's words, "Always keep moving forward." Over time, John's investments paid off. He became wealthy, but it wasn't the money that mattered most to him. It was the knowledge that he had overcome the pain and struggles of his past. He had found a way to honor his mother's memory and build a future for himself. And in doing so, he had discovered something far more valuable than money. He had found his purpose. Years later, as John sat in his luxurious office, looking out over the city, he couldn't help but think about how far he had come. But with success came new challenges. He had lost friends along the way, people who couldn't understand the choices he had made. There were moments when he felt lonely, like he was losing himself in the world he had created. But the most painful moment came when he lost someone he had loved deeply, a woman named Sarah. Sarah had been his closest friend for many years, and they had shared everything. But when John became wealthy, things changed. Sarah felt like he was becoming someone else, someone she couldn't reach. They drifted apart, and one day, Sarah was gone. John never had the chance to tell her how much she meant to him. The regret gnawed at him every day. One day, while going through old boxes in his office, John found a photo of Sarah. The picture was taken at a time when they had been inseparable, laughing together at a cafe. As he stared at the photo, tears welled up in his eyes. He had made mistakes, and he wished he could turn back time. But life didn't work that way. The only thing he could do now was move forward, just as his mother had always told him. John's story is one of perseverance, heartache, and redemption. It's a story about how someone can rise from the depths of despair and find success in the most unexpected of places. But more than that, it's a story about the power of healing and forgiveness. John learned that true wealth doesn't come from money. It comes from the love and connections we build, the lessons we learn, and the strength we find within ourselves. In the end, John realized that his true fortune wasn't the money he had accumulated. It was the people he had helped along the way, the ones who had believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. And as he stood at his mother's grave one final time, he whispered, "I did it, Mom." I kept moving forward. This is the story of a janitor who became a millionaire, not because of luck, but because of the strength of his heart, the lessons he learned through loss and grief, and the sacrifices he made along the way. It's a story that reminds us all that no matter where we start, it's how we choose to keep going that determines where we end up.